Welcome to a very sunny, hot, sweaty, humid edition of Southern Maryland Sports Journal. We're here at Riken High School with my main man. Can't call you Big Game James.
That's for the legend.
No Games James of Southern Maryland newspapers, sports writer, good friend to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And even though it's hot and sweaty and muggy out here, it is the off season, so it's only right. But let's go ahead and reflect on the spring sports season that was for all the local high school teams. We'll get to the Southern Maryland Athletic Conference, affectionately known as SMAC, in a minute. But we're here at Riken, so let's start with them. Who were some of the spring teams or individuals that really stood out during the spring season here at Riken?
How fitting that we're at Riken, home of the WCAC softball champions, St. Mary's Riken Softball Knights.
That's big.
They toppled Bishop O'Connell this spring. Bishop O'Connell, if you don't know, they've won the last 10 WCAC titles.
Wow. 10
years in a row. Riken has done something that no other WCAC softball team could do the past 10 years. They did it this year on the strengths of pitching from sophomore Madison Augenball, senior Tori Hughes in the infield, and junior third baseman Lindsey Heinze. They had a lot of characters and a lot of leadership to help lead them to this title.
It's funny, James, and you know this from working in this business, sometimes you just get the right player or the right coach at the right time during the season. I had Coach Sewell in 2 weeks before the end of the regular season. So sort of my questions were about, rounding into the playoffs and peaking at the right time.
Right.
And all those girls you named, he brought up.
Yep.
So they had it was just a perfect storm. They had a great cast of characters.
They had a great core. Definitely.
Were there any other teams here that stood out during the spring season?
For Riken, let's see, they had a couple of good track performances. I know senior Faye Harvey, she did well. But just again, you can't top a WCAC softball championship. It's hard to top, should I say, to top that. Yeah, definitely.
Especially being giant killers like that to take down a dynasty, really.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the SMAC now. Who are some of the teams that really stood out locally within the SMAC?
Definitely. You think you have to start with Great Mills Hornets. The boys and girls, the boys track and field team, they were 4A East champions. Under fifth-year head coach Bianca Lynch, they won it was their first region championship under her. That was really impressive. They had junior Cameron Yon, discus and shot putter.
Big cat too, man. He's a big cat.
When you lay eyes on him, he's almost Herculean almost.
Yeah, he is.
He's pretty big, and he gets oohs and ahs from the crowd. And especially his last throw at the regional championship, I believe it was 169 feet. He let it go, and then in the air, the crowd just oohed and awed. And
That's incredible.
It's a spectacle to watch him throw almost. But yeah, them winning the 4A East regional championship was a big deal for them. And they obviously were standouts. One of the standouts was SMAC Sports this spring.
Yeah, I did a story on them as well, and it's funny you mentioned Jan, because I was like, you're at least 30. There's no way you're in high school. What other area teams really stood out?
Chopticon baseball. They had LJ Newsom. He was the SMAC most outstanding player, and just that he's a Chopticon, junior Chopticon, and Coach Ray Sapp, he was the SMAC Coach of the Year. So Chopticon baseball did pretty well. They were upsetting against Thomas Stone in the playoffs, but they still had a heck of a year. They were SMAC champions, SMAC regular season champions with one loss, and that's pretty impressive, especially under Ray Sapp in his first year as head coach there. Yeah,
we'll get to the other teams also in a minute, but I was at that game as well, the Chopticon Thomas Stone playoff game. Hard fought, tough pitching, and it was just a gritty type game that unfortunately they lost at home, but a great season nonetheless for the Braves. Who are some of the other teams locally within SMAC that had a great spring season?
You go with some of the usual suspects, the Leonardtown boys and girls track teams. They stood out. Let's see, Great Mills is Leonardtown Girls Across.
Leonardtown
Girls Across.
They're always.
They're definitely top of that, top of the usual suspects list. Another undefeated SMAC season. I believe they won upwards to 80 in a row now in the conference. That's just unbelievable. Just when you look at it, 80 conference wins in a row. That's a magnificent feat, if you will.
Absolutely.
They are always in the running for getting to the regional championship and such.
Yeah, there's some things that you could just go ahead and clock in that is going to happen, and that's one of them, Leonardtown Girls Lacrosse being on top of the hill there. Let me ask you this. From a broadcasting, you're a newspaper guy, I'm a TV guy, but it's still media, it's still sports media. What's the best sports season to cover? I mean, do you like the fall, the winter, the spring, or do you like the hot and muggy off season? What? Because we still work during the off season. We still have stuff to cover. What's your, favorite season, or give me a ranking, if you will, of them?
I'll go. I'm a huge basketball fan.
Okay.
So basketball just trumps everything always for me. So obviously the winter season is number one, and you're indoors.
Yep.
The con is that the game starts at 7 and the JV goes a little longer. You get there, it starts at 7:30.
Yep. Your nights are much longer.
Yeah, you're riding a little later, but still, basketball is basketball. So I'll go winter number 1.
Okay.
Spring number 2 because
Really?
Because after being inside for 3 months, you finally get outside. You get into some 70, 80-degree weather days. It's just beautiful. Now, fall, you have football. Football is usually a big deal. But fall comes right after the summer vacation. After you've been relaxing and kicking back and going on vacations here and there and traveling, it's like, wait a second, I still have to work.
It's a vacation hangover.
It's a vacation hangover. So kind of coming into the fall is kind of tough. So it'll be winter 1, spring 2, and fall 3.
I like that list. I'm going to go fall 1, mainly because I like how you have, especially professional, you have sort of the end of baseball season, pennant races. You have football geared up. Yeah. So I like fall number 1. Number 2, I think I agree with you with the winter. I'll go winter there. Just covering basketball is a lot of fun. Plus, I do play-by-play, which I love doing that. Exactly. Spring, if I could put spring in last, I would, but the off season, it's 10,000 degrees outside. I got to put that in last. I'd rather get my teeth pulled than be out here in this heat right now. But spring, I'm going 3rd, a very low, close to 4th for spring because it's so many cancellations, man. It's hard to do a show when you're like, okay, I'll be at this baseball game, that lacrosse game. It rained. Whole thing's off, man. It's tough to do a show like that.
That is a little tough. And then on my side, scrambling around trying to do stories, trying to find a killer. Just because the game is canceled doesn't mean the paper won't run. So I understand completely. I
literally did a show during the spring season on the rain. Literally. It was like every game got canceled that week. I did a 20-second voiceover just on. I had rain shots. It was incredible. I was like, this is a new low for my career.
The same thing can happen in the winter, however. I remember doing a story. It hits from January 1st until, I don't know, sometime in March almost. It had snowed at least once a week, every single week, at least once, where games were getting canceled. It was dangerous to drive outside. So winter and spring kind of have those same kind of tendencies.
We have the best jobs in the world, but it's not easy. Sometimes it's not easy. All right, I got to let you go on this one. What's up with a feature, man? It's the off season. What are we covering right now? You got to do a feature on it, brother, man. I'm trying to get in the newspaper.
It's coming. You have me on TV, so I got to put you in the paper.
Okay. Right? Hey, y'all hold him to that. You see my man out in the community, be like, what's up with Travis's feature?
It'll come.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you braving the conditions out here for me, man.
It's all right.
I'm going to get an ice cold beverage, water, of course. James from Southern Maryland newspapers, man, I appreciate it. I'm doing an interview with Dallas later on for the Blue Crab, so I'll tell him you said what's up too.
Do that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching Southern Maryland Sports Journal with 2 very hot,
sweaty,
well, literally hot, sweaty, sticky, muggy sports media members, exclusively on MetroCast Channel 10.
Changing times brings changing needs. That's why, for your convenience, Booth's Heating and Air have extended their service hours to 10 hours a day, Monday through Saturday, at regular service rates. Through rigorous training classes and courteous business practices, Booth's technicians always go above and beyond to provide you with award-winning customer service that you can trust. Booth's Heating and Air, serving the Southern Maryland area since 1993.